Muk Jung finally up and ready to go. Thank you, Raven Studios. So I've got Phil, also my beautiful assistant, who's going to help me demonstrate a couple of things. Before I start my video series on the 8 sections of the Muk Jung, I want to go over just a couple questions that people have proposed to me and a couple of things to be aware of as they go into the development, and as you may find interesting in how to apply certain things from the Muk Jung. So the first thing I want to talk about is how to size the Muk Jung. So where do I put this? Higher or lower? Well, you want this top arm right here to be nipple level when I'm in Ichikime-ma, all right? Because I want my arms to be relaxed. And when I go into Ichikime-ma, my arms are at what we call the 0 point. So if Phil's in fighting position, I don't want my hands to come up this way here when I go to fight. I need my hands to be at my comfort zone, my 0 point here, where there's not too much tension, not too little tension. Then I can go forward and I can do whatever attacks I'm going to do and make them flow smoothly to the target. All right, so that's how you size the dummy. The next thing I want to talk about is the dummy is not a sparring tool. All right, I don't want to come in here and think, oh, I'm going to pop and do whatever drills off that. All right, the dummy ultimately is what we call dead energy. And what that's teaching you in a nutshell is that if I go to do a motion, whatever motion I'm doing, I don't want to press on the dummy. I have to be aware of if I'm pressing or controlling myself in relationship to the dummy. If I'm pressing here, that means if Phil's in fighting position and I go to Pak and I'm not controlling properly where I can feel his center of gravity and I'm pressing, yeah, he can now just simply lapse on me from the other hand. Yeah, and just simply flow around that. If you are not aware of that, you are going to give what we call solid ground information to the other person. That means I'm feeding them information, I'm telegraphing my motions in a nutshell. All right? So now, the other thing that I want to talk about is you are taking all the techniques that you've learned in the empty hand form, Silim Tao, Chung Kyu, Byu-ji, and ultimately going to put them into the dummy. Now, what do I mean by that? Is that all the motions you've done, for example, like Tanzao, right? Well, there's a method to the madness. You do want to follow the formula of learning Silim Tao, Chung Kyu, Byu-ji. The reason for that is because everything starts with center of gravity. In Silim Tao, I'm learning my center of gravity in a vertical position. Chung Kyu, now I'm learning to shift that center of gravity and move with it. Byu-ji, now I'm doing those previous two things and I'm adding going down with that and dipping my body forward while I maintain my center of gravity and adjusting to that change in position. So I'm putting all of that control against the dead energy of the Muk Jung. I have to now do what I was saying before. While I'm doing all those motions and I'm moving with that, I don't want to press on that because I don't want to develop the idea of me pushing, because if I do that against the live energy of a person, I am giving them information. So for example, I don't want to come in and think I have to control the arm of the dummy and think I come in here and now I'm pushing the dummy like up and around into the socket here. All right, if I do that in an application standpoint and Phil comes in and punches, right, and I block his bong style, now I'm pushing his arm. That does nothing, because if I push his arm, now he can come in and just punch with his other hand. Yeah, that does nothing to help control him, all right? When I come in and I do bong style from here, all right, I'm going forward to the target, all right? Always going forward, where I feel the compression here, and through his body tension, I can feel his center of gravity. If I go away from that, now he can just simply punch with his other hand. All right, so I'm feeding him information. I never want to just attack the arm of the dummy, just like I would never want to attack just the arm of the person. All right, so remember, the technique does not, that you do on a dummy, doesn't mean a direct translation to what you would do in application. If I do motion in a dummy, right, where I'm here, this is part from the 3rd section, where I'm doing front kick, tan palm, all right? Well, I would never come in and do that motion, front kick, tan palm, in a live application, all right? I don't have a controlling hand because I'm not on the palm with my Tanzao. You know, I have the Uni Tanzao. Whenever I talk about control, I want to be with my palm on the arm or my palm on the arm this way here. Now I can control him. See this little jerk with my Kaosao. Affects his whole body. All right? But when I do the motion here, it's not a literal translation of me doing tan, palm, and front kick. All right? What that's teaching you in the Mukdang Jung is a higher sense of body control. Everything we do is developing levels of body control. I learned to move my one arm. Now I learn to move two arms. Now I learn to move my body behind that. Now I learn to move my body forward and backwards while I'm doing all of these motions with my arms. All right? So a lot of the motions you do in here are to develop levels of body control. All right? And like I said before, am I pressing on the dummy when I do this, or am I in control? You know, when I go into kick, I shouldn't push myself off center. I should be able to kick and release that, and at the same time, not lay on this here. Do you know when you're laying on a dummy? Because if this dummy were to magically disappear, I'd fall forward. You don't want that to happen, obviously. And the last thing I want to talk about, somebody asked me one time, or I heard somebody say it, does the noise of the dummy mean anything? You know, if you're here, you know, crashing the dummy, does that mean anything? No, it means absolutely nothing. You know, don't think like a louder noise is a better noise, all right? If the motion's relaxed, you'll hear a little bit of a thud, but when you try to put power into it, people think like, oh, if I make it sound or ring or clash or crash, that's better. That does nothing. That does absolutely nothing. So don't think that making a louder noise with the dummy is a better noise. You know, you have to be able to control yourself in relation to the dummy, and ultimately, whatever you do, just like when I'm in Chisao here with Phil, or touching hands with Phil, you know, I can feel his body tension. You know, I feel his body tension, and that's giving me information of where he is, so I can constantly, he comes into attack, yeah, I can constantly adjust myself. I can constantly adjust. It's the same thing I'm learning here. I don't want to come in and just press the arm, but if I relax myself properly, now I can feel the weight of the dummy. And if I relax myself even better, I can actually feel the weight of the stand. All right, but I have to balance myself correctly so that when I make contact, now I can feel the support that the body is giving the arm and the stand is giving to the body. All right? All right, good luck.